We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we cry. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this.
This is a new day. This is a new day, full of sound and light and expectation. This day has been waiting for you. This day has been waiting especially for you, to embrace you, to guide you. This day has been waiting with open arms just for you. This is the day we have been given. Let's not waste it. Come now, and let us worship together. Welcome, everybody. My name is Reverend Joseph Boyd. It is a pleasure to welcome you here live in Youngstown, Ohio, at 1105 Elm Street. And we welcome all of you who are viewing us in the Youngstown area, in Mahoning County, Trumbull County. We welcome our members and friends from PA. We welcome all our viewers from across the United States, California, to South Carolina, to New York City, to even beyond the borders of America, to Brazil, the Dominican Republic, and other places. We welcome you into this space that has stood here on the north side of Youngstown for over a century in witness to those who are marginalized in our communities. We have proudly waved a rainbow flag for over a decade now to signify this place is a sanctuary for any persons who identify as LGBTQIA. We have raised a proud, large, visible Black Lives Matter banner on the face of the church to remind ourselves and our neighbors, and now all of you across America and across the world, that racism and systems that support racism must transform if we are to become the beloved community. If you come to us this morning with a confused or broken heart, welcome. If you come to us in need of inspiration, energy, and vision, welcome. If you come to us feeling great, please offer yourself to our community and support those who need it. And you can do that by making comments in the chat box. And also after the service, please do save some of your comments so we can all share together in the experience of this moment. So there's one special announcement I'd like to make. Some of you, probably all of you know, we have a very important upcoming election in November. And so our congregation wants to help with that effort in terms of making sure that people have access to vote, especially those who historically have not had access to vote due to voter suppression, due to race, where they've lived, the governors of their state, etc. So we're going to actually start a program called Get Out the Vote from Home. It's a postcard campaign. And so I'll read a little bit about what this is. In cooperation with UU The Vote and their partner Reclaim Our Vote, we have an opportunity to reach out to older rural voters in southern states who have experienced voter suppression in the past. Our task would be to write postcards to people on a mailing list following a short script and format to ask voters to check on their registration status. This program has had much success in the past in reestablishing voter registrations. So if you want to be part of that program, all you have to do is put your name down in the chat box and say voter postcards or just voting, and we'll include you on a list. And there's going to be a live meeting through Zoom where you can also participate in the planning process for this. And that's going to be Saturday, August 22nd at 10:30 a.m. Again, that's Saturday, August 22nd at 10:30 a.m. That is going to be a meeting where you can talk about planning ways that we can get these postcards out to people, and we can make sure that we can deliver these postcards to you. And this is key. We're going to do this contactless. So there's a way that we can deliver these postcards to your home safely, so you don't have to worry about that. And now I would like to go to Mystery Wallace, live from California. She is our Interim Director of Religious Education, and she will share with you what she will be offering for the children today at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So now, Mystery, I would love to hear what the lesson is for today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mystery Wallace, the Interim Director of Religious Education, which means at UUYO that I run the children's program. First off, I want to mention that the children will also be participating in Get Out the Vote. We're still developing exactly how that will work, but it's very important for young people that are figuring out their views and what they believe, and can't legally vote, but can still make a difference. So last week in our program, we had a very interesting lesson on the evolution of primates to humans. We considered whether humans are actually better than other animals, and whether or not race makes any actual intellectual differences. It does not. This week, we will be moving on from mammals and learning about photosynthesis and plants. We will be starting our lesson outdoors with a nature hunt, so it is important that everyone has access to do that. As always, everyone is welcome to attend, regardless of past attendance, age, or membership to the church. If you have any questions, I can be contacted at dre@uuyo.org, which I will put in the chat box. And further information can be found in the order of service. Thank you.
I spend a lot of time thinking that I can't do this. Reverend Joseph asked me to speak on the subject of Reconstruction today and how it applies to my upcoming move. For those of you who don't already know, I have been accepted by Columbia University's MFA program in Creative Nonfiction. Despite the fact that classes are going to be all online, I made the decision to start my life in New York City this fall. I will be moving into a Harlem apartment with 2 other queer folks and their 2 cats. and I spend a lot of time telling myself I can't do it. I treat my writing, and I count this chalice lighting as part of my writing, with respect, by which I mean I am never less than honest with myself when faced with a blank page. That honesty is sometimes brutal and not always kind. This is a subject rife with political possibility. Harlem and Reconstruction, a traditionally racially diverse neighborhood beset by gentrification, the subject of housing as a right, the thought of moving during a pandemic. But as I sit down to write on this Saturday afternoon, and I always say I write my best sermons on Saturday, I can't even go as far as to say the personal is political. I need to speak from a personal place about where I've been the past almost 3 decades, where I'm going, and how everyone here has made an impact on me. I have been in therapy for the past 15 years and counting. I will probably be in therapy for the next 15 years and more than that. What I have learned is that reconstruction is a process. For the past 15 years, I have been building a home. Sometimes the windows break, sometimes the walls fall down. Sometimes I find out the foundation I built years ago is crumbling and unsafe, and I have to start all over again from scratch. Building myself up again when I fall, this is the essence of my reconstruction. I spend a lot of time thinking that I can't do that. My therapist recently pointed out to me that every time I get knocked down, I think that I've been sent back to square one, but that isn't true. If I'm on square 150 and I get knocked down, that just means I've just been sent back to square 149. But I have done work. I have done good work. I can trust that the stairs won't fall through every time I step on them. I can trust that the foundation I have built, with the help of family, friends, and this church, will stay stable as I move forward. This isn't a honeymoon. NYC will bring along with it new problems, new anxieties, and new depressions, and I will have to learn to deal with all of these things in new and different ways. I've never done anything like this in my life before. I can only hope that the work I've done on myself up until this point, the work I will continue to do, is enough to see me through. This church helped raise me. I came here as a child and had sleepovers in Channing Hall before it was refurbished, and sat on pillows in RE class and decorated the boards with chalk. I talked about my depression in youth group when it was first beginning to manifest, and after college and some years away, I came back and integrated myself into this church's body as well as I could, blessed with the opportunity to act as worship associate and worship lead on a myriad of occasions. One of my sermons, if you'll remember the Veterans Day sermon about Kurt Vonnegut, I included as part of my Columbia application. This church is part of my foundation, and I am so grateful for the education I received here as a child, the support I received here as a teenager, and the illumination I received here as an adult. As I move forward, I will take you with me. Thank you for lifting me up. Thank you for listening to my thoughts. Thank you for helping me build my house. I hope to go on to do great things. You will be with me when I do them.
And now everyone will join me in reading the covenant of our church. Love the spirit of this church and serve its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, seek the truth and love, and to help one another. Each month, we give an organization that supports transformation in the community, which is the heart of our mission. And the church is to commit to the well-being of our community, give 100% of offering to those in need. UUYO is given the place specifically for August is the Sea House Emergency Shelter. The Christmas Urgent Shelter is the only shelter in the valley that accepts men, women, and children without any restrictions. CHS is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and provides safe place to sleep along with meals. CHS serves over 600 people per year and turned out over 400 people due to the fact there's no space available. The 10 place Shannon permanent house with the success rate of 50% as the state requires 50%. The call rate is $20 far cheaper than hotel costs. Due to COVID-19, half the North 36 beds to be utilized. They work with the Noble County House Collaborative, utilize a hotel for women with children and the elderly. The house is funded by the state of Ohio, County Health and Recovery Board, Unit 1. We now receive the offering and support life of Youngstown, from the home valley, our wide world.
Good morning, everybody. The song I wanted to sing for you this morning, the first one is a very important song from the Civil Rights Movement. This song was actually sung at Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. So this is, I dropped my pick. There it is. And so this is an important song in the folk movement. And I bet you lots of you know this, and please sing along with me if you know it. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and sisters all over this land. Ooh, if I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring about love between my brothers and sisters all over this land. Ooh, if I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing about a love between my brothers and sisters all over this land. Ooh, well, I got a hammer, and I got a bell, and I got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and sisters all over this land. Ooh, well, it's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and sisters all over this land.
Please join me in meditation.
Americans are living in an era of efforts for a new national identity, while Martin Luther King Jr. characterized as a beloved community free of racial injustice, are directly confronting deeply entrenched national myths rooted in white supremacy. We are in the midst of what amounts to America's third Reconstruction. In the wake of the Civil War, the architects of Reconstruction, 1865-1877, made a valiant attempt to create a new interracial democracy. It faltered in the face of brutal violence, legal decisions to assault black citizenship, and political segregation erected Confederate monuments, massacred black towns, and imposed a version of American history rooted in vicious racist myths that became part of our national culture. Movies such as Birth of a Nation in 1915 and Gone with the Wind in 1939 erased memorabilia such as lawn puppies and everyday items such as Aunt Jemima syrup and Uncle Ben's rice, reflected not only personal indignity but wider injuries related to policy and system of racial oppression. America's second Reconstruction, the civil rights movement's heroic period in the 1950s and 1960s, attempted to combat the symbol and substance of white supremacy and anti-black racism. But its mission, despite watershed legal and legislative victories like Brown versus Board of Education and the Civil Rights, Voting Rights, and Fair Housing Acts, remains incomplete. America's third Reconstruction began with the soaring promise of Barack Obama's 2008 presidential election and the victory campaign that millions took to be a definitive symbol of historic racial progress. Dreams that a black president could prove transformative to national race relations proved short-lived, and the emerged Black Lives Matter movement during Obama's second term exposed the limited impact of a black family on entrenched systems of oppression. The 2016 election of Donald J. Trump revealed the depth and breadth of racial resentment and fear among those who correctly interpreted the phrase "Make America Great Again" as a call for restoration of white supremacy, the Redeemer South of Reconstruction, devoted to the removal of gains made by African Americans, updated for digital age. This year has ushered in the most dynamic social movement for racial justice in American history, as Black Lives Matter 2.0 awakened the entire nation to a reality of white supremacy, made more legible to millions of white Americans who, in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, shelter in place spurs and mass unemployment, showed new layers of empathy in taking the streets to protest against the killing of George Floyd. If 2008 reflected hopes that Black League could transform racial injustice inside out, 2020 bears witness to the power of millions of Americans seeking fundamental transformation of systems of racial injustice from the bottom. This year of play, racial justice protest, and violence hastened America's moral and political reckoning with over a century of long-standing monuments, citadels, and symbols of white supremacy that have narrated myths about our nation's collective past.
You can play the game, you can act out the part, though you swear it wasn't written for you. Tell me how you're gonna stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool. One thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. What I've gotta say to you is just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. Tell me what you plan to do about your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone. Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, you can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel always getting the grease. Better to shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. What I gotta say to you is just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Come on and shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Come on and shower the people you love with love. Let it rain, let them know how you feel. 'Cause things are gonna work out fine if you only will.
The divide between the interior and the exterior is not so clear. The dividing line between who we hold ourselves to be and the truths we use to guide our lives that are self-evident seem to be connected to the self-evident truths we see everywhere when we open our eyes. It is truly mind-boggling to open our eyes and see the world that is also a reflection of our interior life. Our worries, our concerns, our hopes, and our dreams. I have never felt like a global citizen as much as I have in the last few weeks. Even the word America doesn't seem like a big enough concept to hold all that is inside me. Whether we witness the protested election in Belarus or the grieving citizens of Beirut or the members of our own community who are trying their best to stay safe and avoid unnecessary risk, it all touches the heart if we allow it. Part of the beauty and pain of this time is that it cannot be fixed according to our timetable, and we are being forced to endure and find ways of cultivating consistent, loving resilience over the long haul. And when I say the long haul, I don't mean until the end of this pandemic. I mean the rest of our life. I mean the rest of the life of this country, however long that will last. and the beauty of this world that is beyond our ability to label with neat borders. It is beyond our ability to conceptualize and hold within us in neatly separate, oriented compartments. I remember when I was a child, I would have a dinner plate, and I would fit as much as I could on my plate. While some people I saw were able to leave a small space between all the different dishes, mine would always merge together. And the border between cranberry sauce, it would meet potatoes and gravy. And in that meeting place, that merging was always a new discovery, a taste I've never had before. Sometimes the taste would repel, and sometimes it would be a delight. But it was always a surprise, and it felt enlivening to taste that unintended meeting place. Now we have all these unintended meeting places. A meeting place that has happened before, but never on this scale. White Americans meeting black Americans. Americans meeting Europeans. Those in Gaza, Beirut, Belarus. We are seeing the unintended meeting place of families who are asked to spend more time together. Business meeting the limits of human vulnerability. We see the meeting place of flailing leadership, meeting the real demands of citizens to prosper and live. We are seeing the meeting place of human health and animal health, the lives of those who live in the city, meeting the lives of those who live in rural communities. We are seeing where our values meet the demands and needs of this world, and in turn, we are seeing how the demands and needs of this world, without maybe even fully realizing it, are shifting our priorities. We are seeing that our inmost secrets and yearnings are tied to a life outside of us, and it can be touched, this outside life. And in that touch, a new world emerges, for better and for worse. We are experiencing the profound intimacy of breath and the way that breath can be used to animate and sustain life, or make more prevalent sickness and disease and stasis. We are seeing in very tangible ways the meeting place of personal responsibility and a greater responsibility. One of the maxims I once heard about prayer is that prayer may not change what or who you are praying for, but it will change you. I see now this is a limited and incomplete maxim. I see now beyond a shadow of a doubt that when we change ourselves, the world is also changed. The world and our interior life are not two separate things with a neat space in the middle. They are merged and literally part of a breathing, living cycle. Our breath changes the world, and what the world is becomes part of our insides, the very marrow of who we are and how we function. We are not just interconnected. To use Thich Nhat Hanh's term, we inter-are. The interior private life we have is our public's life, and the public's life is in turn our life. So other than this theory, How can this awareness be helpful to us? It means that when we take good care of ourselves, we take care of the world. And when we take care of the world, we are taking good care of ourselves. And what do I mean by good care? I don't mean working strenuously until you're overwhelmed, exhausted, and resentful. I don't mean fixing ourselves or fixing the world in a mechanistic way. What I mean by taking good care is respecting that we are alive and that the world out there is also alive. It is a breathing, living organism, not a thing or a machine or a static one-note system. It is alive, and living things need nurture and attention to thrive. The interior work is the work of attention and nurture, noticing what is happening so we can nurture growth and possibility. How do we do this? How do we nurture growth and possibility? The wonderful thing is that there isn't one prescription, because we are dealing with a situation that is alive, not static, which is why attention is so important. We don't know what we're meant to do in this moment, but we can learn to pay attention and sustain that attention long enough that appropriate action might arise. If instead of trying to control and manage this moment as if it was a static, predictable machine, we can accept that we are dealing with a situation that is alive and that we are alive in that situation now. In doing this, we may be able to feel more curious about what possibilities may be presenting to us. We may discover how alive we actually are. And in seeing how alive we are, come to appreciate how alive the world is. It seems to me that the interior work is to recognize this basic truth and constantly remind ourselves of this. We are alive, not static, we're not stuck, we're not trapped, even though sometimes we act this way. We are alive. It sounds so obvious. We may be tempted to lose our curiosity and take this for granted. We may think we know what it means to be alive, to be a living, breathing organism. And once we are certain about that, we are no longer as alive. Our life becomes a possession, a thing, something that we own, rather than something we can experience with awe. Our life can become an object or a container, a holding place, a pause, a bookmark, until we pay attention to see where the story is leading us, moment by moment. Everything in this time feels so intensely personal, because it is. It's incredibly personal. And it also doesn't belong to us. Being alive is respecting what we are personally going through, our challenges and our hopes. Being alive is also seeing where the borders of our life merge unexpectedly, not always in pleasant ways, with a world that is mysterious because it is alive. It can't be tamed, even when we trick ourselves into thinking so. It can be offered attention, and in that attention is not so much a taming, but an understanding, a kinship, an affection. And in that space of understanding, kinship, and appreciation, new possibilities for action emerge. Now more than ever, the collective imagination has opened more than it ever has. What we thought to be impossible has already happened. And we understand now clearly that the world is not a static, oppressive reality that forces us into lives that we have complicated feelings about, but that our living in small, everyday ways is actually shaping the world, whether we knew it or not. The world we thought we were living in was not as alive as it is right now. And of course, this is scary and disconcerting, because this means it will never stay put long enough for us to completely know it. We are being asked to live by trust, not just by knowledge. Our knowledge is far too limited to be our ultimate guide. Even scientists, the greatest scientists actually, are admitting something very important that deserves our respect. We have no idea fully what is going on. So knowledge, though an important guide and one that we should follow, cannot be our ultimate guide. Something else must be present. The wonderful thing about imagination is there are no limits other than the limits that we place on it. The imagination is actually truer to life because it actually mirrors life. It continually expands without end, like the universe. It is wily, changeable, unpredictable, surprising, breathtaking, funny, maddening, inspiring, just like the world. Instead of trying to manage life to fit our idea, we can allow our idea to expand, to more closely align with life. Life that is alive and expansive and without end. Eternity actually makes the most sense, though we will never be able to grasp it. It would make sense that this living, breathing organism we call life, our life, and the life of our world are continually merging with each other and expanding without end. This makes much more sense than the taming of life into neat categories, categories that we create that artificially limit aliveness for the sake of control. It would make sense that we are born for a capacity to not just notice what is happening, but imagine what could be. In many ways, the imagination may be more real than what we're seeing in this moment. Because once we see something, it's already past. So how is this helpful to us? It means we were built for this, biologically and spiritually. We were built to cultivate attention, nurture, and imagination. It is natural we would merge with the world in profound and heartbreaking and soul-edifying ways. It means it makes sense that we would feel overwhelmed and that our imagination and sense of aliveness would need to stretch to make room for the life we are now currently living. It is a comfort that all this is possible and that transformation is the way for us. It has always been the way. Really, there is no other way. Even when it feels like we or others are just staying the same, trying to return to the past, trying to just keep the status quo, it's actually impossible. Nothing stays the same, including us. The possibility of transformation can help sustain us in times of trouble and doubt. The transformation is realizing that our interior life is alive, never trapped or static. And this interior aliveness is completely dependent and completely 100% supported by the world. As we face this new period of reconstruction, let us be alive in it. Let us not be spectators offering commentary from the sidelines of life. Make us participants. Make us participants in our own life. Make us active participants with our own interior feeling of being alive. And help us nurture and respect this aliveness that is always bigger than any story we might construct. Help us to trust the life we've been given and the person we've become. And help us muster the courage to never quit becoming. Help us to embrace movement and doubt as opportunities to remain curious and pay attention. Help us not to lose our vigilance and keep watch for what is arising for us in this moment, and keep our imaginations open to what may come. We are in the rare and enviable position to be alive during this time, knowing what we know. We are in the enviable position of going beyond a single leader who will alter our destiny and begin to imagine an entire people acting as participants in the aliveness that is their literal birthright. We are in the enviable position to see our limitations and have the ability to use these edges, these limitations, as the beginning of a new narrative, a new chapter in each of our lives. We are beginning to see a new destiny emerge, a living, breathing organism that is creating and recreating us in every moment. Let us pay attention to what we are recreated into. Let us keep watch to see that we are indeed alive, so that we might nurture the aliveness of our sisters and brothers and all people. Let us seek to reconstruct the people, places, laws, and lives that have fallen and are awaiting the reminder that, yes, we are still alive, inside and out. Please pray with me. Spirit of love, we are grateful for this day to be alive and to feel we are alive. Help us to connect to the aliveness that is here virtually in our connection with each other. please encourage us to engage and share ourselves and to receive others with appreciation and gratitude. All this we pray. Amen.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine there's no possessions. It isn't hard to do. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we meet again.
As you depart, please remember the one great fact: you are loved and never truly alone.
Let it go, my love, my truest. Let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, but it's such a fine thing. There's a gathering of spirits, there's a festival of friends, and we'll take up where we left off, where we all meet again. I can't explain it, well, I couldn't if I tried. How the only things we carry are the things we hold inside, like a day out in the open, like the love we won't forget, like the laughter that we started and it hasn't died down yet. Let it go, my love, my truest, let it sail on silver wings. Life's a twinkling, that's for certain, but it's such a fine thing. There's a gathering of spirits, there's a festival of friends, and we'll take up where we left off when we all meet again.